Hey, it's your book Hound here, coming at you again with another great book review. If you like what you see here, I hope you'll subscribe. We got great reviews coming out every week and special offers and all kinds of cool stuff. So today we're going to talk about a book called The Hearing by John, and I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Lescroart. And you might be familiar with him. He's a very successful best-selling author. And The Hearing is a relatively early book. It's the seventh book in the Dismas Hardy series of legal thrillers. There are now 19 books in the series. This one came out in 2002. Now you might be wondering, why am I reviewing a book that came out 19 years ago? And the reason is I got it for free. I got it at one of those like take a free copy bookshelves at a hotel. So I'm sorry, I'm kind of cheap. But hey, you know, a free book is a free book, and it's a worthwhile read. I mean, if you like legal thrillers, the Dismas Hardy series is really a lot of fun, and you know, Lescroart really knows his way around the legal field. So anyway, the book is set in San Francisco, as are all Dismas Hardy stories, and the book opens with a murder. There's a Abe Glitzky, who's the head of homicide at the San Francisco Police Department. Glitzky is a half black, half Jewish guy. His phone rings in the middle of the night, and there's been a murder. And when he finds out the name of the victim, whose name is Elaine Wager, he just flips out. And nobody on his team is really sure what's going on. But what's happening is that Glitzky knows that Elaine Wager is his daughter, but it's a secret. It's Elaine was the daughter that he had secretly with a prominent African American politician, a senator from the state of California. And this, by the way, is kind of a lot of the Dismas Hardy books deal with these kind of like high level people, you know, mayors, senators, police chiefs, like, you know, and Dismas Hardy is kind of like, you know, floating. He's a lawyer. He's floating in this milieu. Anyway, it seems to be a really open and shut case. There's a guy named Cole. He's a heroin addict, a homeless guy, semi-homeless, sketchy character who's found at the scene. You know, he has the weapon, the murder weapon with him. There's gunpowder residue on his hands. He ran away from the police. It's like, it's obvious that he did it. And the problem is he's really high on drugs and he can't remember if he did it or not. And Glitzky goes berserk on him and roughs him up and forces him into interrogation without letting him go through detox, which is like the standard procedure. And all the other police in his team are like, "What are you doing, boss? This is wrong. We're going to get in trouble." And Glitzky's like, "Forget it. We're going to get the truth out of this guy." And they sort of squeeze a confession out of him. So it really seems like, you know, you're about 20 pages into the book and you're like, okay, that's it. Case closed. Like, what are we going to do for the next 520 pages? But Cole has a family, and they approach Dismas Hardy, who they know, and say, "Can you defend him?" And Hardy is initially like, "I don't think so. This guy's guilty, guilty, guilty." But he promises, because he's a friend of the family, that he'll take him through the arraignment. And then, as Glitzky starts to dig into it a little more, something doesn't seem right about this case. It really doesn't seem so clear that Cole is guilty. Now, Glitzky and Dismas are best friends, which that alone is weird. Now, Dismas was formerly a police officer. Now he's a criminal defense attorney. But the guys are best friends. But, you know, normally, I mean, I'm saying this because I read books. I've never worked in the police force. Normally, the police and defense attorneys do not mix. They are enemies. They don't talk to each other. But somehow Dismas Hardy and Abe Glitzky, they talk. And Glitzky takes a very unusual step and shows Hardy Cole's confession tape, which is a big no-no in police work, and he actually gets suspended. He's like suspended from his job for this misstep. But he goes on investigating the case on his own, and he goes to the victim was a lawyer, and Glitzky goes to the law firm where she worked and tries to interview people. And he meets Elaine's paralegal, who just hates him on sight. Like, it's whoa, this woman hates him, and they've never met. Like, what's going on? But what happens is that this paralegal, her name is Treya, she knows that Glitzky is Elaine's father, and she's angry at him for never acknowledging her. It's a whole like story, but what's really happening is that they're kind of meeting cute. There's romances in the air, unlikely as it may seem, because when Glitzky is confronted about this, he has a heart attack and collapses on the street. So this woman who hates him so much somehow shows up and helps him at the hospital. Like it's a little, you're like, okay, let's just go with it. They're falling in love, and that's the way it goes. And so they progress more and more into this mystery, and they uncover more and more clues, and they start to realize that this guy Cole may not be guilty, but they don't have a whole lot to go on. And the hearing, the book is called The Hearing. The hearing that the book revolves around is this preliminary hearing, which is, I guess, a step in a murder trial where the prosecution and the defense lay out the basic facts of the case, and the judge makes a decision whether or not there's enough there to go to trial. Now, the judge in this case is a real hard case. He brooks no nonsense in his courtroom, and he really doesn't like Dismas Hardy. Dismas Hardy, you know, you love him because he's the hero of the story, is a bit of a show-off in the courtroom. He's always grandstanding and making speeches and causing the judge, he's, you know, like banging the gavel, order, we won't have this in my court sort of thing. And he just hates, you know, Hardy, and warns me. He says, one more outburst out of you and I'll just have you out of the legal profession. You'll be like, you know, driving a cab or something. So there's a lot going on, a lot riding on this for Hardy. And so it's an engaging legal thriller, and Lescroart really knows his way around the legal system. If you find this kind of thing interesting, there's a lot there. Like, for example, he delves a lot into the character of the district attorney of San Francisco. And what's funny, this was written 20 years ago, but this is very much still an issue in the city, that the district attorney is someone who, like, wants there to be peace and love in the streets and doesn't want to prosecute criminals, and she's criticized for it. But somehow in this case, she's going to change her ways and get reelected, and she's going to just put this guy Cole in the gas chamber, and she's driven to do it. And this, if you follow recent San Francisco history, you'll know that there's kind of similar stuff still going on there with district attorneys who are criticized for being too lenient. My only criticism of this book is it is just epically long. It is over 500 pages long, and at certain points I was just like, am I really going to keep going with this? I mean, it was a free book after all, but like, it was a lot to deal with. And I thought, I'm not sure what's going on, but sometimes authors just really feel the need to go on at great length, and the book is like 2 inches thick. And, if you like legal thrillers, it's definitely worth checking out. I mean, I'm a fan of the series. If you like the Dismas Hardy character, he's not for everybody. He's a kind of a character that you see in certain areas of the mystery world. He's kind of a man's man, an old-fashioned guy who likes a good scotch and knows where to get a good steak. And, he's kind of old-fashioned in that way, if you enjoy spending time with a character like that. But he's a great lawyer, and if you like great lawyering, this is a good book for you.